Hi everyone, Phil from statisticsmentor.com. Every year I see students who have done a questionnaire and they have spent ages entering data into Excel, and then only then do they come for help to ask, how do I get the data into SPSS? Well, SPSS is certainly suited for analyzing questionnaires. And if you know how to input the data into SPSS, you can reduce the amount of processes you need because you can kind of get rid of the step that involves Excel. Basically you should be able to set up SPSS to take your data and enter it straight into there. That way you can get rid of the step that involves Excel. So let's show you how. I've got this questionnaire here, and I've got a few questions that I'm going to set up in SPSS. Question: what is your gender? Second question: what is your age? Third question: what is your marital status? Question 4: your highest level of education. Right, what do we mean by setting up in SPSS? Okay, for each question, well, let's do it for each one and see. What is your gender? You've got two responses, male or female. Go to SPSS. Male or female? That's my question 1. Now, what you want to do is you click on the tab here to set it up. Is click on variable view. Under the name, we enter the nickname of the question 1. So you could call it, since it's about gender, you could type in Gen for gender, like so, or you could type Q1, but that's not so self-explanatory, although if you have a sheet of the questions printed out you can refer to it directly. But note that the name here, what goes here, is supposed to be like a nickname. It's supposed to be very short. It's just for your reference. It doesn't appear on the output. And the constraints on this name is that it shouldn't be too long, otherwise you get an error message, and also there should be no spaces, so you can't say gender space male space female. So let's say Gen for gender. Okay. Now, we go here straight to here, labels. Labels is the name that you wish to appear on your actual output. Obviously Gen is the nickname. If that appeared on the output you might understand it, but nobody else may not necessarily understand it. So label, this is for other people to actually understand, because this is what's going to appear on your output. So this is, here we can write down the full thing, and here you can really go to town. You can have spaces if you like as well. You can have proper sentences. Let's use gender like this. Now, next, because each of these variables, now next step, each of these variables we have to decide what type of variable are we looking at, and you've got a choice of 3. Is it continuous? Stroke scale. That means can take values, can take like fractional values to any kind, or numbers to any decimal place. You could have then qualitative variables. Qualitative variables are ones where the numbers don't actually mean anything. And under qualitative you can have nominal or ordinal. Nominal is where the responses, there's no kind of natural ranking. So here you look at the response for gender, it's male or female. Okay, obviously that is not scale, so it's qualitative. Now, is it nominal or ordinal? Well, nominal means that the order here doesn't really matter. You can't say that females better than males or males better than females, so therefore it makes it nominal. Okay, now instead, in Excel, if you're entering this, you might, for each person, if they said female, you just type into Excel female or type in male. But in SPSS, we use something called coding. So this you might have heard in your lectures talk about coding. Coding comes into values. Basically, we replace the names by numbers. Those numbers don't actually, they're just labels, okay, labels. But for SPSS works with labels. So for values, we just type in a number and give it, tell it whether it is a male or female. So, and the numbers here don't actually matter. I could put 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. So let's say do 1 for male. I go add. And let's say 2 for female. Now these numbers, because it's nominal, as I said, mean nothing, so there's no order here. Okay, I've done 1 for male, 2 for female. And pretty much we're set up for now. Measure, if you'd like to change that, but for most things except for certain plots, we don't need to. We don't actually need to specify exactly if it's scale, nominal, ordinal, but we just said it's nominal. Now missing. Now if your questionnaire has any missing values, some people have not entered because it's kind of confidential, or it's kind of sensitive and they don't want to answer that, or they left the question blank there. You kind of, instead of leaving it blank in SPSS, you can specify a number that you will type in if it's actually a missing value. Now we just have to make sure that you can we have to give this a code here for the missing value, and the missing value can be any number so long as it's not one you've used under values. So we've used 1 and 2, so we better not use that, otherwise SPSS will be confused. So use some random number that's much different to 1 and 2, say 50 or 99. If you've got different types of missing values, you can enter different numbers here as well. So you've got 1, that's why we've got 3 cells here, but 99 for missing. So any place where there's a missing value, we type 99, SPSS will recognize that as that person did not respond. That person did not respond to that question. Like so. Okay. So that's pretty much done there. So if we click now to data view, which is where we'd actually enter the input, here you go. Gen for gender, and we type, and for each row would represent a single person who has responded to these questions. So each row represents a completed questionnaire. So we've got the data window, but we've got to get to data window. We first kind of set up the variable by using variable view. Okay, next. What is your age? Well, age here is quantitative, it's scale. Basically anything where you don't have to tick a box, that is pretty much quantitative, if we tried to kind of think of a simple rule. So let's say age. So again, under name, just give it a nickname real short. Let's type in age. Label, let's type in age of responder. This is the actual thing that will come up in the output. Now since it's continuous under values, we don't need to code it because the numbers actually mean something. Okay. And missing, well, no one's going to be 1,000 years old or 999 years old, 999. Okay, like that. Scale done. So that's set up as well. Turn to a data view. You can see now a new column has been set up for age. Next, marital status, married to single. Again, it's a tick box type, so that means it must be it's a qualitative. Is there natural ordering here? No. So this is nominal. So this is a bit of revision for us now. So remember what you do. Variable view, under name, give it a real short punchy one that you will remember. Say status. Okay. Under label, status of responder or participant, responder, like that. Now it's categorical, those numbers, it's nominal, so we have to code it. We have, just check again, what do we have? We have married or single. Okay, so click on value box and click on this dot 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 to bring up the pop-up box value. Just to show you that I don't have to use 1 and 2 all the time, let's just use some other random number, say 5 for single, like that. Remember to click add, otherwise it won't go in this box. It's a common kind, well, it's something I've seen, people just forget to click add. And then let's pick some of the random number, let's say, what's it, 8, married, add, okay, and then OK. Now why might you press 1 and 2 instead of 5 and 8? Well, if you've got loads of data to enter, the distance between the numbers 5 and 8 on your keyboard is longer than 1 and 2, isn't it? So, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, something like that. OK, done. Missing, always remember the missing. Now if you've got a questionnaire where you know there's nothing missing, by default it's set as no missing, so we don't have to touch it. But it should always wise just to set that up just in case, because sometimes our questionnaire could run into, I don't know, huge numbers. Right, so that's 3. Right, last one. What is your highest level of education? Tick box type, so it is qualitative. Is it nominal or ordinal? Does the ranking, is there a natural ranking? Well, response up to 16. Further education, higher education. I would say yes, there is a natural ranking from lowest education to highest education, isn't there? So this is ordinal. Right, variable view, ed for education. Alright. Label. Before we go to label, let's now that you're getting the gist of this, let's talk more about this name. So these names are supposed to be kind of short and punchy, and these names really do matter when you start using syntax, because in the syntax the program SPSS recognizes the variable by these particular names, not by these long-winded ones. Alright, so when you're giving it an instruction, you'd be actually you're telling SPSS to use these variables using their nicknames. Right, education. Type that in full for people to understand and have that on the output. Education. Now we said this is ordinal, so there is a natural ranking here, and here the numbers should now run in order from lowest to highest. So 1 for up to 16, up to 16. Now, because it's label, this can include spaces, so it's not the nickname. So these things can be long. Yes, L for label, L for long, right? So you can have something that's really long. N for name, N for nickname. So, nicknames are much short, isn't it? If that helps you. My pathetic attempt. Okay, value 2. So the next one up is, what's the next one up? Further education. Well, that's something that I myself have. Further education. Add. Right, and the final one, 3, is higher education. Now, the numbers here are in ascending order, and SPSS will recognize this as saying that 3 is a higher level order than 2, which is a higher level order than 1. But those numbers only tell you about the ranking. It doesn't say that, it doesn't give you like that it doesn't say that because further education is 2 and up to 16 is 1, it doesn't mean that further education is 2 times more education than 1. Likewise, 3 doesn't mean that for somebody with higher education doesn't mean that they're 3 times more education than 1. Okay, so important that these numbers here are just ranking, but they're not. That's all they say, ranking. Okay. So instead of 1, 2, 3, you could have used any old number, so long as they're ascending, it's fine. I could have had, for example, 1, 10, 100, 5, 12, 14, but I couldn't have had something like could not have had something like 8, 10, 2, for example, because the last one then is falling again. Alright, click OK, and measure is ordinal. Oh, let's be systematic. I missed something out. I should have gone first. Missing, say we have 9, 9. Discrete missing 9, 9. Done. And now we have set up for the first 4 questions. So this is where now I start to get my bits of paper out where I've got my responses. Say for the first person was, oh, it's a good idea as you're doing this to write down on a bit of paper what you've done. So 1 is for male, 2 is for female. So gender, write it down somewhere in the paper. 1 for male and 2 for female. Alright, something that you can refer to on a bit of paper. What else do we have? Status. 5 for single, 8 for married. Status. Right, status, let's see. Status. 5 for single, 8 for married. Okay, of course your handwriting will be better than mine. Let's see what else. Education, right, 1 to 3, up to 16 further higher, up to 16. Pity you're not here to kind of prompt me. Let's see. Education, 1 up to 16, 2 for further education, 3 for higher education. Okay, 1 for male, 2 for female. Right. 1 for male. Then we'll go to SPSS. So I have that in front of me. Say the first person is a female respondent. So I enter 2. Say she is 23. Put in 23. Say 23. Say she's 23 and a half and 6 months old. 23 and a half. If I'm doing it to that degree of accuracy. Status. Say she is single. Now, what was my code? Single was coded 1, wasn't it? That's why I turned to my bit of paper. Where's my bit of paper? Status. Status. She's single. Yes, so I have to enter 5. 5 for single. 5. Okay. Education. Right. What education has she had? Say she's had. Say she has further education. That's 2. Okay. 2. Where is it? 2. 2. And I'm done. That person is done. Right. Next person. Now let's say that somebody is next one is also female. Right. Let's say that this female was shy about her age and did not respond about the age. Actually, it tends to be more these days that males are sensitive about their age. Right. Let's say gender male. Say age. He did not respond to the age question. Now, recall that I coded missing as 99. Let's get that. Check that. Age missing 999. Haha, 999. So we enter. We don't leave it blank. We enter 999. That tells SPSS that this person did not respond to the age question. Say he's also sensitive about his status. Right, status. 99 for missing. Okay, did not respond to that either. 99. Helpful chap that one is. Education, but he did respond to this one. Let's say he did higher education 3. Done. You see? And this way you just enter all the values in there. You don't need Excel, and so you don't need to be asking me or asking other people how do you import your data from Excel into SPSS. Those people who use Excel will need to do 2 things. They need to import it, and usually they also have to recode, because they don't do any recoding, because in Excel instead of typing 2 and 1 they'll actually enter male, female, status, married, not unmarried, blah 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 blah. So you'd have to recode as well, although that's not too much of an issue because SPSS has automatic recode function. But you know, the advantage is that you can remove that step using Excel. if you just go directly to SPSS or PASW and set it up and enter your data directly into that, because then you just go to your supervisor or whoever is helping you and say, here's my data, can you give me a hand now with the analysis? Okay, well, I really hope that's been help to you. See you later.